Charlotte Flair is off WWE television for the foreseeable future. She is taking an extended break from the WWE. Now, this comes the day after I was making a video saying that Charlotte Flair having a 13th Raw WWE Raw Women's Championship reign was inevitable. So it was quite a surprising thing to hear this. But last night on Monday Night Raw, Nia Jax attacked Charlotte Flair, and it looks like she's going to be on the shelf for a while. Now, this was reported by Alex McCarthy over at TalkSport. If you haven't followed him before or seen his work, it's great. It was an exclusive reported by him for TalkSport. And sources told TalkSport that Flair will be taking an extended break from the WWE. She has been pretty much a constant on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown for a while now. But she's going to take some personal time, and she's also going to have some surgery. It's not been said what she's going to have some surgery on or what the injury is for, but the idea is that she will return around January time of next year, around Royal Rumble season. But if something comes up that's a good story in the meantime around Survivor Series, then she would be open to returning later on this year. But the TalkSport sources said that there's a 0% chance that Charlotte Flair returns for SummerSlam, and that is a quote. It was interesting to see that WWE chose Nia Jax to be the one to put Charlotte Flair on the shelf in storyline purposes. Nia Jax at the moment doesn't obviously have the best reputation when it comes to in-ring safety and in-ring work. We think of the injuries that she's caused, the likes of Kairi Sane, obviously the history of Becky Lynch and others. We did a video on this of if Nia Jax is reckless in the ring. You can go to our YouTube channel and take a look at that. But I'm interested to see why it was Nia Jax, why Nia Jax was decided to be the one to put Charlotte Flair on the shelf. I think it's most likely because she's a recognizable name on the women's roster right now on Raw. Let's be honest, the women's roster is a bit thin. We've seen the likes of Becky Lynch and now Charlotte Flair be off WWE TV. We've seen Sasha Banks and Bayley come over to Raw as part of being the women's tag team champions, because obviously, look, they need the star power in the women's division. So I think that's the reason as to why Nia Jax put Charlotte Flair on the shelf. I think WWE also is trying to almost play off this, is Nia Jax reckless? Is she hurting people? I'm sure in a couple of weeks' time, on a promo on Raw, Nia Jax will brag about injuring Charlotte Flair, but also brag about injuring Kairi Sane, breaking Becky Lynch's face, and all of that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason that WWE have decided to do that. And look, it sucks for anyone to have surgery and to be out for a period of time. So I sympathise for Charlotte Flair massively. But I think this is the best thing for Charlotte Flair in general. Now, yesterday I spoke about a report that was in the news last week that Charlotte Flair was, quote, in line for a big push. Well, that didn't happen, did it? A big push to the injured shelf. So that report, for whoever it was from, I don't have it off the top of my head who it was from, was massively incorrect. And that idea of Charlotte Flair getting a big push is pretty laughable at this point. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm not a Charlotte Flair hater by any stretch. I think her matches are great. I think she's one of the best female in-ring workers in WWE, along with Asuka and Io Shirai. For me, Charlotte Flair really is that good. Her mic work's good, and she does come across like a star. My issue has always been with Charlotte Flair and with these WWE big pushes, that it's the overexposure problem. It's the ram down your throat. It's the constant, just way too forced push. It's not organic at all, and it can be eye-rolling to a certain extent. So I think that it's going to take a while before she becomes that 13-time champion in WWE. Is a good thing. It is a good thing. We've just had her come off the NXT Women's Championship run, and it felt like it was, okay, she's just got off the NXT Championship run, let's get her into the Raw Women's Championship picture. That's not the case now. It's not this case of make Charlotte Flair look strong, make Charlotte Flair look strong. So I think this overexposure issue has been solved, and it will certainly be solved in having time off until Royal Rumble season next year. That's about 6 months' time. So I think that's a great benefit for Charlotte Flair. The idea of, how can you miss me if I'm always there? That's the principle there, isn't it? I think she'll be a bigger star for the time away. People will miss her. they'll know, okay, Charlotte Flair was actually really good, and Charlotte Flair, her matches were great. Her match against Asuka on Raw last night was great. Her matches are always great, especially with Asuka. They have tremendous in-ring chemistry. But it's just Charlotte Flair's always there, and she's always in the main event scene. She's always in the title scene, and it just eventually it will rub people the wrong way. They want to see something different, and they don't want to see someone all the time. I said it's overexposure. That's the issue. What it is with Charlotte Flair, and her having some time away will absolutely solve that. She'll be a bigger star for having that time away without a shadow of a doubt. And they'll realize the star she is, and like I said, there will be no overexposure. She's been on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown recently, post WrestleMania as the NXT Women's Champion, and it's just been too much. It's just been too much. I know they tried to get over Charlotte Flair as the hardest working female in the company, and she said that in her promos, and she talked about defending the title across all three brands. That was great, but it was too overexposed. It was too much. So I think her having the time away should be much better because of it. But if you look at the Raw Women's Division now, the Raw Women's Division is hurting. You've got Becky Lynch gone. She's going to be gone for the foreseeable future. Obviously, she's going away, starting a family. She's pregnant. We don't know if and when she'll return. The timeline on that is completely off the chart. So we don't even know if Becky Lynch is going to come back or when she's going to come back. Now you have Charlotte Flair gone from Monday Night Raw. And not just from Monday Night Raw. These are the two of the biggest female stars in the company, two of the biggest stars in general in the company. They're both gone. And I think back to the first female main event in WrestleMania history, right? WrestleMania 35, it was only a year ago, just over a year ago. The main event, Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair, WrestleMania 35 in New Jersey, and now none of them are currently on WWE television. Let that sink in. These were the three females that WWE decided to bank on. These were the three females that they felt were the three biggest stars in the company, in the female division, that they thought could pull off a main event at WrestleMania, and none of them are on WWE TV now, and none of them will be on WWE TV for the foreseeable future, which has to hurt WWE. That has to hurt WWE. At a time which the ratings are going down and less people are watching, you have three big stars that aren't on TV, and three female stars three biggest stars of your female division aren't on TV. It has to hurt. But in this face of adversity, WWE has to build new stars. I think of the likes of Liv Morgan. I think of the likes of Ruby Riott. I think of Sonya Deville. I think I've been praising Sonya Deville for the longest time now on social media, because I think she really is that good. She has the aura and the feel to me at the moment of a Becky Lynch in 2018. I think she's destined for superstardom. Her promos are great. Post WrestleMania in 2020, she for me is the breakout female star on SmackDown, maybe just the breakout star in general on SmackDown. She has really been that good. Her promos have been that good. They just need to give her a mic and that's it, because she has been that good. But it goes back to my point. WWE needs to build new female stars. Mandy Rose, they need to build her up even more. I've mentioned in yesterday's video, they need to strap the rocket to Asuka and ride her all the way to the top, because that's exactly that's the best they've got on Monday Night Raw right now. And that's not a slight at Asuka at all. I think Asuka's tremendous. I mentioned yesterday, Asuka's one of the best in-ring workers in WWE. For me, she's the best complete character and the most complete female wrestler in WWE right now. Her matches are great, her promos are great, her character's great, her look's great. She's the most well-rounded and complete female superstar that they've got on WWE TV right now. But you have to invest in them. These are the people that I just mentioned, the Liv Morgans, the Ruby Riotts, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Asuka, of course Bayley and Sasha Banks, but the Iconics, etc. These are the people you have to invest in. Because your three biggest female stars, or your perception of three biggest female stars, the ones that you trusted to main event WrestleMania 35 in New Jersey, aren't on TV anymore. So you need to build the new stars. You need to build the new stars. To me, also, with Charlotte Flair not being on TV now for the rest of the year, it means that an Evolution 2 pay-per-view looks very, very unlikely. I think, as I mentioned, not having those three big stars, not having Charlotte Flair, not having Becky Lynch, not having Ronda Rousey, it just isn't happening for me. I don't think that pay-per-view now. And it would appear that WWE's been on the fence anyway about doing a second Evolution pay-per-view this year. They kind of teased it when they sort of showed it again recently on FS1 and on WWE Backstage, which now isn't even a program, spoke about women's wrestling in WWE and spoke about the Evolution pay-per-view. But you look at the talent that they currently have and the talent that they got in for that event, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. I think of that card. That card had the Bella Twins on it. It had Ronda Rousey. It had Becky Lynch. It had Charlotte Flair. It had Trish Stratus. It had Lita. All of those names aren't competing right now. That's a lot of star power there. That's some of the biggest female stars that the company has ever had, or some of the biggest female stars in the company's history. So I think that event is very, very unlikely. But in terms of her coming back, Charlotte Flair, as Alex McCarthy mentioned, they're saying around Royal Rumble season, possibly Survivor Series if a good story comes up, or maybe earlier if Vince McMahon panics, which over the last few months he's started to do quite often. But if she does come back around Royal Rumble period, does this mean that Charlotte Flair wins? Could Charlotte Flair win the female Royal Rumble 2 years in a row? Personally, all of that goodwill that people would have for Charlotte Flair returning, I think would disappear in an instant if Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble for a second year in a row. Could you imagine? People would lose their minds. Social media would go into a meltdown. They weren't happy that Charlotte Flair won the Women's Royal Rumble this year. They were unhappy that Shayna Baszler didn't win it in the first place and Charlotte Flair won it. They went insane. So can you imagine if Charlotte Flair won it again for the second year in a row? And I mentioned Shayna Baszler there. I mentioned about the Raw Women's Division hurting. Where's Shayna Baszler at? We've heard rumours that Vince McMahon's, he's not interested in Shayna Baszler anymore. He doesn't have the look he's looking for, which as a story and as a sentence in 2020 is horrific, to be honest. That you're still judging female competitors on their look in WWE, I think is ridiculous. Shayna Baszler, you look at her success in NXT, her character, her matches, that MMA fighter style that she has is tremendous. And I think if she isn't used properly on Monday Night Raw now going forward, it's a complete waste. You think of the matches she could have with Asuka going forward, I think it would be absolutely tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. And when you've got stars like Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair missing, you have to use a Shayna Baszler. It doesn't matter about your opinion on what she looks like. She is bankable. She's got history from NXT as a bankable star. She can work in the ring. And let's be honest, your options are limited. So it doesn't matter what the old man thinks. Push Shayna Baszler. Push Shayna Baszler. But going back to Charlotte Flair and going back to January, as Alex McCarthy mentioned, no chance of her appearing at SummerSlam. So I think the Asuka versus Charlotte Flair SummerSlam match is obviously off the table. Survivor Series, I can't think of a good story that would make a comeback for Survivor Series, unless it would literally be, the 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen match. I don't even think the desire to see that much is as much as it was a couple of years ago. We've seen Jessamine Duke and Maria Shafir in NXT. I'm not even sure that they're still ready to be elevated to that kind of match. We don't know if and when Ronda Rousey is going to return to WWE. Becky Lynch, I'm saying about 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. Becky Lynch is going to be heavily pregnant by then, so that match isn't happening. So let's just remove that point of thought there. I hadn't even thought about that. There's no reason then for Charlotte Flair to be returning around Survivor Series for me, unless it's a match against Ronda Rousey, which I think they would save for WrestleMania anyway. Regardless, I think it's best for her to take as much time off as she needs. I think the best thing for her is to take the time off until Royal Rumble, or maybe later till WrestleMania season. Take away that overexposure, make the people miss you, but not so much that when you come back you're in the Royal Rumble, because I think social media would explode with unhappiness. Can you imagine 2 years in a row? Then I have to start making videos again going, Charlotte Flair, why is she winning everything over again? So sucks for Charlotte Flair to have the injury and sucks for her to have surgery, but I think this time off will be the best thing for her. But of course, this is just one man's opinion. What is your opinion on this situation? What is your thoughts on Charlotte Flair taking some time off, taking some personal time, healing up some injuries and having surgery? When do you think we'll see her back? Do you think we'll see her back at Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, or even later? And how would you book her return? Let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Wrestle News 365, you can do that. Click the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now. If you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button along with another video to watch. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms as well. They're on the screen right now, at 365 Wrestle on Twitter and at Wrestle News 365 on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you've come across this video today, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.